Everybody, and welcome back to our new channel, and today's tutorial is about for loops. So basically a for loop is just like any loop. A loop is something that goes and execute until you ask it to stop. So let's see what is a for loop in programming. A for loop in programming is a thing that can help you do many things efficiently and make your life much more easier. For example, if you have a balance account of $100 and you want to add a dollar each day to this bank account, uh, a way to solve this problem is by adding 11111 for the entire month, or multiplying 1 times the days of the month and then adding it to the balance of your bank account. But another way, which is more efficient and will help us if the number was complicated and the number of days was not flexible, which is for loops. For example, let's say you have a bank account with $100. So let's here try to code this problem. B and B stands for your bank account equals 100 and the semicolon to end our statement. So the primitive type, the name, the value, and the semicolon. If you don't know what is this and how we define and create integer, I encourage you to watch the previous video on primitive types. It explains well everything. So now let's see how we construct a for loop in Java. We write for, open two brackets, and inside this bracket goes three statements. First statement is called the counter of the for loop, which is most referably noted as I, but you can name it any name you want, but it's common that they name it I. So we write int I, it's an integer of course, I, because it counts, it only increase and decrease, int I. And we set it to 0. Let's set it to 0 for the sake of this example. And then we put a semicolon after finishing each statement. The next thing goes here, as we said, there goes three things. The next thing is the bound. When do you want the for loop to stop? How many times do you want it to execute? Let's say here we're adding $1 to our bank account each day for 30 days, which is the month. So we say is I is 0 and I is less than 31 because we want I to execute 30 times. So whenever it's less than 31, we stop. So when I is 31, this for loop won't enter and won't execute the code inside it. We'll understand more and more as we go on in this tutorial. The third thing is, what do you want to happen after each execution? Here, since we're going day by day, we want each time we do the loop to increase the counter of days in order to reach the second day and the third day, and this way up till the last day of the month. So each time we write I is equal to I plus 1. Instead of writing I equals I plus 1, Java has created a way to write this statement in a much easier way. It's only available for I equals I plus 1. There is no statement for I equals I plus 2 if you want to increase it by 2. So it's only when you increment it by 1. Is I plus plus. Sorry. I plus plus. This statement means I equals I plus 1. It increases I by 1 each time. And then we open these brackets, those two brackets, and here goes the code that you want it to execute every time for loops. And here for our example, it's b equals b plus 1, and this is my call. So here let's see how this for loop works. It will go I equals 0. It will check if this condition is verified. Is I less than 31? If yes, it will enter and do this code. And before exiting this bracket, it will do the last condition, which is increasing I by 1. Okay, so it will go check, and then after doing this code, it will update. So the next time it goes, I will be 1 because it's incremented after it was exiting here. I is 1. The second time this loop is going, I is now 1, but we'll check, is it still less than 31? Yes, it is less than 31. We will go again and do b equals b plus 1. Then before exiting, we will increment I plus 1. It will be I is 2 now. And so on until I is 31. 31 times, 30 times, and then oh, I is 30 now, 31. Is 31 less than 31? No, it won't enter and the for loop will break and we will have, now we can execute the code that's written here after this bracket, after the for loop. So let's say I, now let's print B, the balance, to see if this thing really work. Okay, so now the problem here is that we put it's less than 31. I'm sorry, it's my mistake. I should have started I at 1 in order to work because day 1 is equal to 1 and you know, sorry for this. So now it worked. Okay, so now let's say we want to execute 15 days, like your employer gives you $1 every other day. Like one day he gives you $1, the second day he does not give you $1. So instead of that, we can do two things. We can either put this counter to be 16 and it will add $15 to your account, or instead we can do this thing, keep the 31, and instead of adding I one time each execution, we make it add 2 days, like count 2 days instead of counting 1 day 1 day. So here we made it to count 16 days and add dollar each day. Instead we'll make it add $1 each 2 days until it reaches 30 days. So we put I equals I plus 2 and it will still give the same result. The last thing we want to talk about is, instead of, let's put this back to I++, and instead of putting this less than 31, we can keep it at 30 and put less or equal. This is the way we write less or equal. Okay, so this is less or equal. It will execute for 30 times. It's equivalent to less than 31. So if you want to put only less, you use one times more, one number more. If you want to put less or equal, you put it at the same number you wanted to reach. Like for 30 days, you put it, if I is starting at 1, then it's less or equal than 30 if you want 30 days, or it's less than 31 if you want 30 days. It will give the same output, 30. Just the same as if we put less than 31, it will give 130. So let's say we can change here the code. Let's say instead of adding $1 for per day for a month, your employer is adding $5 to your account. Or let's make it a bit more difficult, $5.5. So we can't add 5.5 because it's an integer. Okay, so let's keep this 5 for the time being, and in later tutorial we'll talk about more advanced ways to use for loops. So let's now make it 5, and as you can see, it's easy and simple to calculate your bank account balance after 1 month. So this is it for today, and this is the tutorial about for loop, only constructing and basic ideas and knowledge about for loop. We will be talking more advanced in later tutorial. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial and understood the for loop well, and see you in next tutorial. If you did not subscribe yet to our YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe, and see you later. Goodbye.